Oh,
What?
that's
No,
great.
no.
Okay, here we
no,
go.
no,
We're
don't
recording
hit
now.
record
You're
yet.
welcome.
This is
Well,
much better.
Welcome back,
Okay.
everybody.
for the record, I think we're gonna play the music at the end because that just feels the most satisfying.
Yeah.
Alright,
Right.
you're being too meta.
Well, we can do it at the beginning and the end. It doesn't
Well, we're
matter.
also gonna talk about we're gonna say we have a topic now, so I don't know how meta is
we
that.
do have a talk, and we have a
Yeah.
guest.
Yeah, we have
we
have
have
two
a
things
guest right
True.
now. So
We got
guest name
both.
and pronouns give.
now.
I don't remember my name. I had a script for this, but I can't find it in my Google Docs. I think I might have
You made a
accidentally-
script for this?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were supposed to have like a layout, right, Orion?
Well,
There
we
was a
had like
plan
an
that we
idea.
didn't know.
There was a plan, and then we don't follow it.
Wait, you made a plan?
I didn't.
'Cause I
Apparently,
didn't-
there was.
Wait.
Yeah, apparently I did.
Did you unwittingly make a plan without any of us knowing?
Well, I wanted to go in prepared, and
So you made a send this plan to me.
Yeah,
I'm
send
curious
this to us
now.
afterward.
I would.
I just
Yeah.
told you. I think I
No.
overwrote it.
You wrote
Okay.
You just wrote a script for a play.
Yeah.
Like.
Okay. We just need
anyway.
name and pronouns to start off.
Yeah. Don't worry.
I'm an idiot, and I go by they, them, I think.
We will
Okay.
also refer to them as bread this entire time because
Yeah. Because that's their other
dogs.
name.
Only bread.
Is
there's
bread.
some lore behind that, but we're not
We'll
gonna get
explain lore maybe later.
into. Each of our names have so much lore.
Yeah. The lore, the meta.
The
Um,
lore.
Yeah,
What is
so
this
what is-
episode about?
Yeah, what's the topic
yeah,
of this
Nova.
episode?
Oh, do you want to say it?
Oh, I forget what we were gonna name it.
Okay, great. Then I will. So, welcome, we don't have a name for anyone that listens to this. Welcome to Friends and Enemies. Today we're gonna talk about gender in the most serious episode we will likely ever have, because next time we're talking about video games.
Woo!
So, we're gonna talk about gender as a whole, what it means for us, and, just it in society.
Yeah, this is the most serious this podcast will probably ever be.
And
Yeah,
at
I
the
don't know if
same
you guys
time,
noticed
it
yet,
won't
but it
be
hasn't
serious
been
at
very
all.
serious. Yeah, it has
Yeah,
not
So
been
far,
very
we're not doing a
serious.
great job.
As if we've had one episode, which is the introduction.
Well, also the first 2 minutes of this. So,
We don't talk about that.
okay,
We
yeah,
can
we can
edit
we
it
can
out.
we can cut it out. I promise.
Post-production.
You
just cut
literally
it
were
out,
just
yeah.
like, I'm gonna start recording immediately.
Yeah, no,
Do you
I
wanna
said
know
we're
what
gonna
it-
start recording. Go, and then we just started.
Honestly, I didn't know if you actually had hit record, so I was just speaking just
Oh,
normally
you didn't know that we were recording this entire time.
Yeah, no, I didn't know yet until you were like, okay, name and pronouns. I'm like, wait, we're actually doing this right now.
Yeah.
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 Any hoozle. So yeah, welcome.
I guess.
No, come on, we gotta get a better
Okay,
welcome than that.
fine.
Ready, guys?
One, two,
two,
three.
three.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yay!
We
Discord
did it.
lag.
How do we want to start this off? How do we want to start
Um,
a topic?
Well, I guess we can go around and say what it means to us, and then go into the broader topic of it as a societal thing. This is a deep.
Yeah, this is a
jeez.
deep dive.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Well, first of all, what does your assigned sex at birth mean to you?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yep.
It means biology is what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
and
It has
actually,
a science aspect, but that's it.
I have a fun thing. I have seen a variety of it as a topic. It's really funny how much variation there is in normal biological gender, because even in the base, it's not just a flip of the coin. It's more like a dartboard that has two very big sections, and in between all those sections is all of intersex,
Yeah.
which is a massive amount of variation.
That's a good
There
way of
was
describing it.
this there was this video I was watching. I scrolled down to the comments. I had no idea that the X and Y chromosomes weren't the only thing that were
Yeah.
just like straight determinators. What? The only things that
Yeah.
determined what your sex was at birth. It was really crazy. What is
Yeah.
it called again? The other thing?
Intersex?
Uh,
It's
no,
the
no,
general.
no.
Oh, what?
No.
The other
It's
thing
like
that determines
chromosomes and then
Oh.
the
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 Mm.
silly goofiness
The
in
organs?
each person.
The organs. We're talking about the things that make you develop those. Right?
Oh, develop. I thought you were just referring
So
to
there's
just
chromosomes.
The
and then
organs.
There's
I think
something
it's
else.
chromosomes that decide. Oh, hormones,
No,
which are divided by the chromosomes. It's
no, I
chromosomes.
don't think that's right.
The
Hold on.
chromosomes decide how your DNA builds itself.
We're
Was it
Yeah,
really
but
prepared.
there's
if
a
you
little
couldn't
more
tell.
than that.
I'm sure. Well, you find that out. I'm gonna
Yeah.
also say something else. But yeah, with that, like there's been a lot of discussion about what defines like in the scientific communities about like what defines how what's a male or female. And what's really weird is that like definition, as the general like society has started to look at normal gender as a more scale, the definition of what a guy and a girl is like sex wise has gotten really like confusing, like in the sense of we're not quite sure if we have a definition.
Yeah.
Because all the arbitrary things are sort of out of the water because there's always exceptions to them. So you can have an X and Y chromosome and have both pairs of organs, or you can have a normal amount of chromosomes and still have an organ or something. So it's really interesting that the literal definition of what sex is as varied as the definition of what gender is.
Yeah.
It's crazy wacky.
It's kind of silly, goofy.
I found what I was looking for. There's something called the SRY gene, which is present in the Y chromosome, which is why the Y chromosome is a switch for, all the gender stuff.
Yeah,
You automatically assume that we would just know this on the top of our heads.
Yes, that was last year.
No, because I think I've
took
read the same
biology last
article.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think another
Um,
question that we talked about before I actually hit record was like, when did you actually figure out that like changing your gender identity was an option?
Oh, that's a good one.
Who's answering
Ooh.
first?
I'll go first because
okay.
I remember exactly when it was. So I have been going by they them for a while before I knew that that was like an actual thing.
We actually
one of my
talked about it
friends-
before this.
Yeah, we did.
Oh my gosh.
We were talking about you.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So I've been going by these pronouns since like the 7th grade, I think, before I even knew what being non-binary was. But when I found out that I could call myself non-binary was actually when I was talking to Nova really early on when I met them first. I had no idea that was an option. And so that made me feel a lot more comfortable. So that was back in like early 2021.
Yeah.
See, when you said I've been going by they them pronouns, I thought you've been like defining yourself as non-binary. In which case,
Oh,
I went
no.
for 2 years now. But then you said 7th grade, and I'm like, that's much longer than 2 years.
That's longer than I've
Yeah.
been using they them
Yes.
pronouns.
Yeah, I think let's see. Let's look. Similar vein, someone who realized themselves during the pandemic. It was just like a lot of sitting with ourselves and like a lot of introspection. At least that was my experience. But it was truthfully just like the interactions because I never really it was really Nova. Nova, I think you were one of the first non-binary people I talked to.
Am I just everybody's
Like,
non-binary
ever.
awakening? Like,
So
Excuse
you
me?
were like, and then as I met you, I somehow started to meet more and more people. It's like you were like the catalyst
I
to
just
start the
attract
reaction
non-binary
of
people.
Orion Media 1,000 non-binary people. And like through 2020, I was like experimenting with like how I presented myself and like how I felt about like my sexuality and what I felt and like who I was. And like I started to present a lot more feminine, but also was like, yeah, I'm still cis. And then 2021 rolls around and I'm like, I don't know what I am. I think I identified as genderqueer for a while with a he, they,
I
just
remember
because I was
that.
confused. And then as of about a month or two ago, I was like, more like a while ago, like 6 months ago, I was like, oh, I am not either of those things. I am non-binary and I like being feminine, and that is the end of the thought. And I think partially it was because it wasn't as much of a, I didn't realize it was an option. It was more of just like figuring out where I fell inside of the spectrum and figure out like in comparison to all of these other non-binary people I've met, where do I fall in their existence? What do they are like? Eh, that was not none of that was cohesive, but I
No, I
hope it
got it.
made. That's about my brain there.
Yeah.
Sabina, how about you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, Abina.
So I didn't know any of you guys yet because I was still living in Texas. I didn't meet you guys until like December. Actually,
Last
November.
year, it was
Yeah,
2021 when because I
in
remember
November,
joining.
I was invited to one of many servers, and then I met everyone, and I was like,
So
wow,
many servers have died off so quickly.
yeah,
We're just killing them slowly.
That's
one by
right.
one.
Group chat is next, Sabina.
Nah. We gatekeep group chat.
Group
Um,
chat cannot
but
die.
yeah, this was back in Texas, so seventh grade. Um, beforehand, I was like um kind of trying to figure out my sexuality first.
Mhm.
I was lesbian
Same
in
with me.
elementary school. I'm proud of that. I'm very proud of that. Um,
Elementary school,
In
Sabina.
elementary school, I
Really,
yep,
was lesbian,
really
and that is
slaying
my
hard
greatest
there.
accomplishment.
yep. That's like that is my peak right there. My peak. Um, but when I was in sixth grade, like the year beforehand, I was like, what if like I didn't know you could be trans and stuff yet, and like
Is
you
it
can
because
be
you lived in
non-binary.
Texas?
Yeah, I was in Texas, guys. Like, cut me some slack, all right? Um, but I always felt like I didn't necessarily fit in female or male, and I was like, what if I just was in between? Like, is that a thing? And I remember in seventh grade, I
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
just
Yeah.
looked it up. I just
Yeah.
looked it up. I'm like,
Oh
can
yeah.
you? And I'm like, wait, this is an actual term. Like, I
Was I
heard it
the
around
only
social
person
media.
like embedded into non-binary friends when I figured out?
I
Can I
think
blame
so.
all of you?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
Can I
blame
just
me.
blame?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
can blame
I will
me for
blame
you not
all of.
being
I'll blame
cis.
Nova,
Yeah.
Bread, all of. It's just
We
all of your
we
guys'
took away your
existence.
gender and threw it away.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are the gender gremlins, actually.
I also,
Yeah.
I love how non-binary is so open to interpretation in a sense of you can be feminine non-binary, you can be masculine non-binary,
Yeah.
you can just be the definition of gender, which is what Nova is.
Like
So
you
Okay.
Oh
can
my
Yeah,
you
I'll
god.
can
take it.
you can be like you don't have to fall under your gender at birth. You don't have to like because
you
you're
can if you
born
want.
female or you're because you're born male. You don't have to like
Yeah,
deal with that. Like you can just be nothing. But like
Yeah.
still express
you can
yourself.
ascend past
You
the
can
mortal
you
plane.
can be beyond that, but still be able to express like being masculine or being feminine. So like
Yeah,
But
it's
like
it's
just to
really cool.
clarify, there are a lot of people who say that especially for AFAB people. There are a lot of
remind me
people who
what
make
that
the
means.
excuse. AFAB is assigned female at birth.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No
I
problem.
know
And
so
then
much
there's
queer
Yeah.
also
So
terminology. I
there's
don't know what
AFAB
that
and
is.
AMAB.
See,
Yeah.
I've
um
just seen the latest thing, which is don't use gender at birth. We use dead gender, but that's what I want to use now.
I
But
like that.
I saw that on Reddit.
ooh.
I like dead
Anyhow, so
gender.
continue.
Yeah, there are
Sorry.
some people out there who think that people who were AFAB but are non-binary and are openly non-binary are just doing it so they can avoid the how did this person phrase it? It was like the difficulties of womanhood or something stupid like that. It's really great.
What?
Oh
Yeah,
my
That's
god.
like my father. That's
Yeah,
like some
that's
of my
stupid.
parents' weird perception of like. I had this weird conversation with my parents once where they were like, "All of the teenage women are bisexual," and I'm like, "Okay." And they went, when I was in college, all of the females were bisexual, and I'm like,
What?
"Okay, they're allowed to be." And they're like, "But then they weren't the next year," and I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know what point you're trying to make here.
I
Are
was
you telling
bi
me
for
they're
a bit and now I'm not. So
they
Yeah,
I
like
don't
to
know.
experiment?
Like,
I was just like, it was like to that vein where it's like, oh, they're faking it, but not really.
It's just, it doesn't matter. Not to me, at least. I don't care about any of you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care how any of you guys identify.
We are all dead to bread. We are.
yeah.
I
Red
just
Dead
respect you
Redemption.
for who you are, and I want to be your friend, and that's what matters most.
Yeah.
But some
I
people
also-
can't see that. Have you ever had like a really bad experience with somebody related to like how you identified?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I live where I live. So
Yeah. Because
Wait,
like
before we transition
it's-
off of this, Nova, how did you figure out yourself? Because we
Oh,
literally
true.
just
yeah.
utterly
yeah,
went
we've just
past
skipped over
the
me.
fact. Yeah.
We thought it was
No,
obvious.
Nova's been eternally non-binary.
Yeah.
They came out of the womb and they were like,
no.
no.
I mean pretty much.
The doctor was
honestly.
like, the doctor was like, it's a insert dead gender here, and Nova looked up at the doctor,
It's a
stared right in his
boy.
eyes, and was like, no,
You're wrong.
and then killed the doctor.
Yeah.
He is
and
gone
then he
now.
regenerated because it was actually Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite lore.
No,
There's,
so-
there's so much
Anyways,
lore in Nova's
Speaking
birth.
of lore,
Let me
Nova.
take you on a journey, okay? So
Story time.
when I was in elementary school, I went to a private Christian school. And when I was there, I met a person who was like my best friend, and I had the hugest crush on him, but I had no idea what that was. So I was
Rush or like
just yeah, no, like I was
okay.
I had a crush on this boy that I met in kindergarten. And I was like, what is this? So I just thought we were friends.
Yeah, feel that.
Yeah. And then I move and I go to our middle school where I take the health class. And one of the curriculums that they teach in that health class is gender identity and sexuality.
Really?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, they
Awesome.
teach that at the middle school.
I forgot.
As someone
the
who
state we're
had
in.
did their health in Texas.
Can we say the state we are in? I feel like the state is okay.
I feel like that's fine.
Yeah.
We're in Washington. Well,
Yeah.
not. Some of us are in Washington.
guess
We're
which
pretty
one?
sure Bread lives in the middle of space.
Bread is in the
but we're
middle of
not
a black
quite sure.
hole, okay?
Bread lives in like a satellite, like constantly
Yeah, they
circling Earth.
live on the International Space Station.
I am so jealous of your middle school right now because of that one
Honestly.
statement
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Mine
Texas
I went
health
to a
class is
private middle
so
school and they did
horrible.
that too. But I thought it was only because my private middle school was like a private middle school that
No,
they did it.
They did
But
it
no,
at
Guys,
the
I'm-
public middle school.
I'm
Yeah.
going to
Oh,
middle school and I'm taking health class, BRB.
Yeah.
Sabina
I
appears
wish.
back in middle school.
Yeah.
No, a quick tangent. Sex ed is like really, it's really crazy because I used to live far away
Crazy.
from where I am now, but
Yeah.
like there was like some sort of health class. It was elementary school, so there wasn't really.
Oh yeah,
But
I
there was,
remember like
the
5th grade
basic
health.
stuff. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then I moved into the ISS, and like the space section was not as like thorough. I didn't learn anything at all.
The
There was
space
definitely no
sex
gender
scene is
stuff.
not-
I love how we're playing into this.
Oh man.
All the
Yeah.
aliens are all over the place, and they don't want to respect them. It's
Dude,
crazy.
that's
It's just
what needs
because
to
you guys,
invest
it's
in
because you guys
more.
are like technically like international land, so you have to comply with everyone's different rules.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's so weird, and I hate it so much. And honestly, I wish that gender studies was available to everybody in
This is
Yeah.
official
sex
lore
ed.
now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons
Just
why I was like,
podcasting
oh,
lore.
non-binary though, was because I took that class and I was like, oh, these are kind of like cool terms, and I didn't
Yeah.
really look at them after that. So
Woo!
in 8th grade, I was like, yeah, I'm bi, right? And
It
Yeah.
all starts there.
that's all that I was like at. Yeah, that's all that I was just bi. And then COVID hit. And I was like, you know what? Those terms, those like weird terms that I heard, like non-binary, that's what happened in my head because I couldn't read at that point.
Non-binary.
Non-binary.
Reach.
I was like, oh, what was that about? Because I remember feeling like kind of associated with that, but not really. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's just me. I have never felt male at all
Wait.
in my life, so this makes sense.
Postage it just isn't your
So
thing.
were we
Wait, that happened
all
with
like
me
gender
too.
unlocked during COVID?
Yeah.
Except for Sabine.
Yeah, I was
Sabina
already.
was
No,
Sabina.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Okay, actually though, it's funny because I was non-binary, but then I was like,
Uh-huh.
maybe because at that time when I became non-binary, I didn't know that you could be feminine or masculine. Like you had to be a certain thing to be a certain
You had to be
way.
androgynous.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm really feminine, so I was like, maybe I am just a female. So like during COVID, believe it or not, I was like, I found out. I was like, you know what? I could be non-binary and I could be feminine,
Guys.
and so I came back.
So
But yeah, so like, did you guys ever try to be like androgynous entirely?
yes.
Got a bowl cut. Does that count?
I think so. I think that absolutely counts.
Absolutely.
I became non-binary and was like, I'm getting a bowl cut. So
Yeah, I don't really identify with masculine or feminine still, so I try to remain kind of androgynous just for me.
Yeah.
I have started. So I have a challenge, which is testosterone is rude. So every clothes I own gets small. And it's
Ryan
not
wearing
because
my
I'm getting
clothes.
bigger. It's because the clothes are definitely actively shrinking.
Yeah.
So generally, my clothes have always sort of been just like in and out, in and out. They've never really stayed. But as I've gotten like, I'm like at a height that is probably not going to change. Like I have started to like lean more towards feminine. I haven't particularly like started wearing truly feminine stuff. Just like more like cardigans and more tighter fitting clothes and like
AKA my
colors.
clothes.
And also Sabina's clothes.
Orion,
they
I'll
just-
give you some of my old clothes that I don't want to wear anymore.
You
There
know-
are two actually all of the cardigans
Yeah.
I have now are either from Sabina or from the side of the road
My
in a box that said free.
my favorite, most androgynous thing that I own actually comes from Bread because they made me a skirt, and it is my favorite piece of clothing that I own.
I'm really happy that
Oh,
you
yeah.
like it.
I
I
love
need
that
to,
thing.
Oh my god.
It's sitting
I'm so
on my
glad.
piano bench right now.
Hell yeah.
I still
It
need to
also
try
doubles as a
skirt.
cloak.
I have never worn a skirt before, and I really need to because
Yeah.
it can help
I
achieve the power.
remember having Tristan come over for the first time, and I immediately put them in a skirt. I was like, put this on. And
Yeah.
so it was just all of us at my house wearing skirts, and I was like, this is how we roll around here.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
us at Pride Parade with our flags, though.
oh yeah, I
Like,
remember
when
that.
we made a
I
train.
rolled
How
up.
we made the
I rolled
flag
up
train.
the Pride Parade, and I just see y'all just utterly gayed up.
Remember
Yeah.
when I started a whole dance mob at the parade?
You did.
did.
It was hilarious. Oh, the
Memories.
Goodness, what was the thought? I did learn though. I really dislike formal masculine clothing.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Suits are not like I wore like the last time I wore a suit was during a friend of mine's quinceañera in like I don't know 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I can't remember. But like I've now realized how uncomfortable they were because I was like dressing up for a dance, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to wear a suit, so I wore basically like gender chaotic
Yeah.
clothing where you just dress like you're slightly from a different century, and then that's about it.
You worked it though. You looked good.
I did. It was fun. And then I took the crown.
At that dance, I rocked a suit and a fedora with my
I can't
long
remember
hair.
what you wore.
I wore gray like suit pants, a black and white button down, and a gray vest. And then I also had the fedora that
I stole your
was given
partner's
to me.
crown. Your
You
partner
did
was
steal
slain
my partner's
also
crown.
from a different. Your partner was literally just like a different era altogether.
They were.
They were like medieval god slightly.
They put on the same thing that they wore to the Renaissance Fair, which was pirate outfit. So
That explains a lot.
yeah.
Guys, you want to
need
know
to
what I
endorse
wore?
that.
What did you wear, Sabina?
I wore pajamas while playing horror games on Roblox with
You
everyone.
did. You gave me an
You know
ear.
what?
I gave you you came over, I was in my pajamas and everything. I'm like, take this ear, take some clothes.
You gave me a giant styrofoam ear. I'm holding it right now.
Yep.
Look,
What?
I felt like you needed that ear, right? I felt like it was the right thing to do.
It's
It
part
was
of your
just calling to
enlightenment.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. My witchy mind was like, this needs to be done.
Yeah. On the thing of like
Does-
suits, I will just some days I will just randomly be like, "Yep, it's a masculine day because I'm too tired to do things." Or, "Yep, it's a feminine day because I'm too tired to do things."
That's what I do. And people
Yeah.
always say, "Oh, so like you're gender fluid." I'm like,
No.
you can be non-binary and do that. Just like someone can be a female and do that as well, I believe. Like, like you can be a female and still
Anyone
be
can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you- like
anyone
anybody
can
should be
do
able to
that.
do that.
Clothes, they don't have chromosomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
totally like
clothes
totally like branching off from this. How do you guys feel about like the term like female, male versus woman and man sort of thing? Because there's this whole
Personally-
stigma around female that's like super negative,
Really?
and I
Is
don't.
there?
I've never heard that.
Really?
So
No,
I
personally,
was
when
actually
someone
listening to
says
that.
female or male,
Wait, hold
I
on, Orion.
assume. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Sabina,
Huh?
what were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, I actually was, like, looking at that. Like, apparently there's a really negative stigma around calling someone a female. Like, in
What?
specific.
Oh,
yeah.
I bet I know what that's from.
Oh,
Yeah.
the weird like what's the name of those people
Yeah.
called?
The alpha
The-
males?
No, not the. Well, yeah, them, but the other
Us
one.
too, I guess.
It
The
starts with an
Sigmas.
I. What's the? It starts with an
Oh,
I. It's like the bad people, the guys, the
I don't know.
incels. Thank you, Anne.
Incels.
Incels.
We have
Yeah.
people in the background
Oh,
feeding
yeah,
us
I
answers.
see that. Yeah, we have a person in our ear.
Yeah.
So it's like the incel culture and the alpha male culture. Yeah, I could see why that stigma floats around. Yeah,
Yeah, I can see why that stigma is there. But
I never refer to someone as
Yeah.
a female. I always use
you
it.
don't?
No, I've only referred to female as like its own noun. I don't say that person is female. I just say that
Really?
person is a person. I generally, whenever I'm referring to anyone, even if they have a preferred gender, I generally refer to them as they or as a person.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, I do
my-
that too.
My
Yeah.
brain
but-
avoids saying any form of
Nova,
gender. stuff.
remember
Yeah.
that time you
I-
made a joke about what gender you were assigned at birth? And then I didn't get it at first because I'm like so used to just like taking away that aspect of people.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I like
Sabina takes everyone's gender.
Yeah.
Truly.
I was like I don't like looking at someone and thinking like, oh, they're this or they're that. Like
Right.
they're just who they are and I'm going to respect that no matter what.
Exactly.
I use male or female instead of using men and women because
Yeah, me too.
like it just makes a bit more sense because
I don't really. Yeah.
like it's more talking about biological sex
Uh-huh.
as opposed to being like you are man, you are woman, which is what I hear a lot.
Yeah, like
with
your-
man and woman, I see it as like just gender identity. That those
Mhm.
are like
Yeah.
you know, man, woman, non-binary, all the other
Yeah.
ones, like all the
But
other
like,
ones.
yeah. But
Male
Yeah,
that's
and
like,
if I'm
female.
male
referring
and
to like
female.
talking about men and
Yeah,
women.
male and female feel inherently to me whenever I'm referring to the sex of someone, like the
Exactly.
base gender, the like, because it sounds more scientific-y, because that's how we don't call a dog a man dog. We
Right,
call it a
yeah.
male dog.
Yeah.
So it's just like whenever that happens, it's just. But I also could see
no.
how that could be demeaning
And you know
if
what?
it's
Yeah.
because it's like the more scientific-ish
If you
term.
know that somebody identifies as a man or a woman, he, him, she, her, whatever, um, referring to them as male or female when you know that is a little weird, and that's what I think people
Yeah,
who
Yeah,
are
I
I see
contemporaries
agree.
that.
are getting at.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess
So,
whenever we
yeah.
refer to male or female, we're like, oh yeah, I am male. We're not so much like, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the
Yeah.
awkward pause moment.
This is
I
the
told
awkward
you
pause
about this.
This is the awkward pause moment where we cut it out.
I
Oh
think
no.
I think next time we should, you know,
Like
create some
list
sort of
out
like
more
topic
topics.
layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
Here.
a lots of stuff to talk about this topic. I just don't want to only be like
Yeah.
have
Just like
more.
I'm sure if we
what's
talk
like
about it, we'll be able to add things. And
Yeah,
I
that's
have a
we're gonna
cool
be able to
thing.
add things. Go.
yeah, go.
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
Insane.
What do you guys so society as a whole seems
We
to
live
be
in
a
a
lot
society,
more
Batman.
seems to be a lot
Sorry.
more is definitely getting a lot more well, depending on where you live, but
Yeah.
mostly it's getting a lot more open to the idea of gender as like more of a spectrum than anything else.
Mhm.
But what's really interesting is as I've looked at the past, there are so many cultures throughout so many regions of the like almost every region of the world in the olden like but when I say olden times, I mean like the 1200s and before. Like there are so many different like native cultures and around the world that all had a base definition of a non-binary person,
Yeah.
from Hawaiian culture to native Chinese culture to like in native African cultures. There's all these different things that all have a word for someone who is non-binary or someone who is like both of the genders or someone who is fully trans trans masc or trans feminine. And it's just really interesting that those have all existed in the past, and now as we're discovering that oh these people exist again, it's like it's suddenly a new thing as if this has never happened before.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and I really like examining linguistics specifically because in languages like okay, I'm not going to cite specific ones because I'm not actually sure if it's right, but there are some Asia-based languages and other stuff, not Latin-based, that have just one word for
Finnish
a man or a woman or in
Finnish
between
has
anywhere.
Yeah,
yeah
Finnish has
Finnish
that.
has
Yeah,
they them
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
their main
So
pronoun.
like the whole idea of there being a gender binary, just entirely binary, two things, no in between, even if you're born with, you know, both parts, um, is just based in Latin languages like Spanish
Mhm.
or 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 German or something like
And
that.
even within those, like I remember that in the olden days of English, when non-binary people like still existed, because we've always been here,
Mhm.
she was like the default they at times.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it was
so
either she
there
that
are
was the default they or he, but it also in Spanish, he is also they.
exactly. And so there are people today who are trying to change Spanish and give them like gender neutral terms when they already have it. Like in Old English, like you're just saying, masculine terms were the gender
Oh,
neutral
was it
terms.
masculine terms? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there are other languages that have the feminine terms be the gender neutral ones. It just
Mhm.
depends.
Hmm.
And as languages evolve, they may cast that away. Like in English, we have they as the gender neutral term instead of
Which
he
the
now.
SAT still refuses to change their one of their questions about, which is so annoying to
That
me.
is annoying.
the
It's
SAT
ridiculous.
has a question, or at least it will it will phrase a question somehow where it's like, what's the best way to say a singular person that you don't know the gender of? And one of the options is he or she, and then it has like it, or it has like theys, or something to that degree, and then there's just they normally, and I'm just like, oh, it's they. And then I checked the answer later because it was doing like a practice test, and I was like, what do you mean? And after some Googling, the SAT refuses to change that question. And I'm
That's
like, but
annoying.
why?
It's
Language evolves.
It does. I was taking an AP English lesson back on Friday, and it was all about, identity and stuff like that. And of course they got to gender identity. But this question was apparently written quite some time ago because it just had like um all the lesson had was information about men and women and their identities, and they did the whole he or she thing throughout the whole lesson. And it
Space station
felt,
education's really outdated.
I know, it's horrible. We don't get enough signals from Earth up here. I'm sorry if my connection's spotty. But yeah, there are some schools and programs that I go to an online school, of course, because we don't have enough resources in space. But this online program has existed for a long time, and it hasn't changed its curriculum to suit everywhere that it's founded. And it's not just in the one place that I live in, space. It's all across the world as well. So, you know, enforcing that idea of a set gender binary that everyone has to adhere to, every English speaker at the very least, is outdated and needs to be updated, especially for the SAT and for online learning sites. And honestly, every school, every single one.
I agree.
Yeah, if
That
the
was
SAT
an
people
issue.
listen to this podcast, yeah, change your question.
Hey, College
Do
Board.
it.
It's about
Do it.
Don't fail me on the SAT, but you should change the SAT question.
Yeah.
But don't fail me, please. Please just give me a good score. I'll be happy.
No,
But you
fail
have
me.
to change
Fail
the
me. I will
question.
die on this hill.
Fun fact. So in Texas, they don't teach gender identity at all.
Makes sense.
Well, I would never guess that.
Makes
And-
sense.
Yeah, and not only that, but it was absolutely horrible. They used an example where it's like they said, okay, 2 of you guys come up here and hold these pieces of candy. Now you can't unwrap it until this certain time, and blah 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 blah. And they described that as womanhood and losing your virginity. But
No!
yeah.
Wait.
They described females as pieces of candy, right?
What?
So
That you have to unwrap only when you're married, maybe?
yeah. So, but it gets funnier. It gets funnier. Okay.
No!
We were all gay. So listen to what we did. We boycotted like these health classes. Like, you guys can't do this to us.
The
Like,
elementary school or
no,
middle
this
school?
this was middle school
Okay.
health class. And I was like, us gay people were like, you cannot do this. And like, what happened was our school ended up being like the only like gay accepting, like no homophobia
You
school.
converted the school?
Literally
converted
Gosh!
over
school?
50% of the school was gay. I kid you not.
You had the highest
Wow.
concentration of gay people across
Yeah.
Texas.
That's
Like,
crazy.
goodness.
I may have moved here and realized how bad the school system was compared to Texas.
Because, yeah.
But like, we still managed to like remove a lot of the homophobia. Like, we
That's
did
Wow.
so
insane.
impressive.
Gosh. And that's just not
Jeez.
homophobia. That's just straight up
Just
sexism.
sexism, yeah.
Yeah, no, that too.
Oh
That
my
too.
gosh.
So,
That's
basically-
Damn.
That's so
Good
that is
job.
so- Yes,
like,
I mean,
wow.
wow.
We brought it into high school too. Like, we weren't gonna just stop there. Like, our health system, like our health teaching, like what they teach in health needs to be fixed. And we were like, we're not just gonna let them
Wow.
tell us that, like, because I was obviously in the female health class. They were like, we obviously won't let them just tell us that we're pieces of candy, like
Burn
Yeah.
down
For
the walls
starters,
of Texas school. We shall the gays shall rise and change the school
I
system.
can't believe that they would do that. That's actually
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
we were all
it's like
there in shock too. Like they
That is
literally just
so
had two of us
impressive.
go up there and hold a piece of candy, and then they explained the situation, and we were like,
Crazy.
"Ain't no way they just did that."
that is
Okay,
so,
important question, though.
Wait, were they?
Okay,
Oh,
Nova.
go ahead. Yeah.
What kind of candy was it?
Yes.
It was
This
like
is important. This is
it
very
was like
important.
Was it like Jolly
Um,
Ranchers?
yeah, it was like Jolly Ranchers, and then some
No
people had
way.
like little packets of like Skittles.
So they already knew you were fruity.
Yeah, like they literally like used rainbow candy on us, and we're like, okay, but you can't unwrap this until a certain period.
It is
And this
weird
is basically
that
like getting married, and we're like, it's literally like rainbow, like.
This
What?
is
It
the
is weird.
homophobic agenda.
it is weird
Grr.
that apparently from your phrasing, Sabina, and from like my current knowledge of Texas laws, you can, as a child with a little bit of paperwork, you can have a gun in Texas. But you can't have gender. You can't be a
Not
they.
allowed.
Yeah, that's not allowed.
I have a question. Does anybody have like a non-binary icon?
What do you
What do
mean?
you
I
mean?
Like, I guess.
Like a
I have
celebrity?
like a trans
or-
Yeah.
celebrity
Okay. So
who I love.
here's mine. Just like for
Uh-huh.
context. In 1776. In
Let's go back in
1776,
time.
there was a woman named Jemima Wilkinson who had like terribly sick, like was gonna die. And
Oh my
then
God.
she woke up one day, got up completely fine, and said that she was a prophet of God and that Jemima Wilkinson was no longer there and her body had been reincarnated. Which like
Oh my
sounds
goodness.
crazy. It's like, oh, Christianity, right? But she went around preaching, would only be referred to as either public universal friend or the friend, and would only let people use they them pronouns for her.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god.
Wow.
So
That
Oh,
is-
well, that
They're
I
awesome.
don't know if mine is as
that
powerful. But
they are my non-binary icon.
like, I don't really have a non-binary icon apart from like fiction.
yeah,
but
that and Mewtwo.
I do have that one. I have that one character. Not that one character. The celebrity. I can't remember their first name or their last name. I remember they're the trans
Wow.
person
So
from
you
Umbrella
can't remember
Academy.
their name, period.
What's the trans
Oh
person from
yeah,
Umbrella Academy?
Victor.
Yeah, but what's the actor's name?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
And
I'm looking
I
it
need
up.
You know
help.
what? We
Quickly.
know who you're talking about.
I know, but that person who like
Aggressive
came out halfway
typing.
through the production of Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
And the show did really good about
Elliot
like their
Page.
transition. Elliot
Oh,
Page.
Elliot Page.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy. He's like the trans icon of he is my favorite trans icon at the moment. But also
Yeah.
he is not a non-binary, but
That
Yeah.
still
that's because
works.
I do have like a couple like trans YouTubers that I follow that I consider icons,
Yeah.
but I can't remember their names. You can't
That's
ask me
fair.
to do that.
valid.
But so if I had to pick a non-binary icon, I can't think of anybody other than Nova right here.
Yeah.
That's my non-binary.
That's what Red
icon.
No,
was
but you're
saying.
defined
I'm
as a
flattered.
non-binary icon.
No,
Oh, really?
it was either End or Red who
hell
said
yeah.
that. Guys, what if I told you I don't really have one? I follow a lot of people on different social medias that are all like trans or non-binary or gay or one of those or all of them. And so like I just kind of just involve myself in the community of all of them, you know? So like I don't
Yeah.
necessarily like have
Sabina.
someone.
Encompasses all.
Yeah, I have just been consumed by gay, period.
Yeah, the gay agenda is really getting to you.
Yeah, Sabina,
I'm sorry.
imagine being
Since elementary.
yeah,
Yeah.
imagine being part
Sorry,
of the
just
gay
had to fix
agenda. Couldn't be me.
Yeah.
Imagine being
Imagine-
part of that like
Imagine being
LGI
gay.
You've been
whatever.
indoctrinated into the rainbow mafia. How do
Yeah,
you
like
feel?
The letter mafia.
Oh my
Um,
God.
The letter
honestly-
mafia.
Honestly, guys, I want to thank my mom and dad. getting me this
for
far.
bringing me this far.
Okay, wait. I do have
this.
a.
Oh,
go
you
ahead.
have another. Okay.
I do have one question.
I've been
after
paying
this.
attention. So, for the context of the listeners who aren't in the, we're in like a channel where other people can listen to us, and they've just been talking away in the chat.
Yeah.
And we've been
I've been
watching.
responding.
Yeah.
So they made up a point. My friend End made a point. He was
And our
he was
beloved.
like
Our beloved.
and our beloved. He was like, in the base of the brain is like non-binary. And I had an interesting point about that. He was making it like as I think as a joke. I don't know as much scientifical.
We're
The
making
thing
it
about
real.
the brain is there's been I knew it was a joke end. You're fine. The thing about the brain is people have done so there have been conflicting studies on this. So I'm going to say both of them. One study suggests that they did scans of cis people, and they did scans of non-binary people, and they did scans of trans people. And when they scanned those people's brains, the trans people brain was more similar to that of the gender that they identified with, and the non-binary people's brains were like had mixtures of both of the attributes of the brains. The other study conflicted with that, which just said everyone has a different brain, and there is no consistency.
Guys, what I predict
either way,
is we're going to evolve and take this with us to the future.
They're both really interesting. I like the one I like to think. I don't know enough about either of these studies to like side with one of them, but it makes sense either way. It's like either A, your brain is just what it looks like, or B, your brain gender is matched to your gender because it's like brain. That was a lot of words.
No, and I think that's really cool. Is because like.
Yeah.
The way that the brain works is it modifies itself to fit what environment you're in, right? Just like how evolution kind of works. It's just that your brain does it faster because that's how you learn. So I think allegedly. Imagine learning.
Oh my god.
What's that?
Yeah,
Who's she?
Couldn't be me.
But
whoa, I think it's really cool that it
assume.
like modifies
Yeah,
itself
sorry,
to
I'm
fit.
sorry.
Jeez, Sabina. We've had a whole talk about the definition of gender, and you assumed education's gender?
Yeah.
Hear me
Come
out.
on.
You guys know the joke. It's always, who is she? Like, you know.
No, I
like,
get it, yeah.
Yes,
okay.
we understand.
Okay,
We're
I'm
just
making
making
sure.
fun of you because it's fun.
Okay, look, I understand, but counterpoint, yo mama.
Oh, damn, okay.
Oh.
Yep, sorry,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that's true.
You triggered my fight or flight response, and that was it.
Red, you had something to say?
Oh yeah, I have like a double whammy question.
Oh.
Damn.
The first one is, how do you feel about stereotypes relating to either your gender at birth, or non-binary people or whatever?
Me, choose me.
What stereotypes do you hate the
I am,
most or
though.
like the most?
I'm
Yeah.
raising my hand.
Sabina.
Yeah, go on.
Sabina,
Go
we're calling
ahead.
on you.
So, yep, me. Okay, I got a load to say. Well,
Okay.
basically one
Go on.
main thing that just gets me.
Yeah.
We all know that we all spend a lot of time in like VCs together. We all like play games together, and we're always constantly speaking. A lot of the time, I haven't noticed this with you guys. I've noticed this with other people. Definitely not you guys. You'll know why. It'll make sense. Okay.
Okay.
So, because like people like to assume genders off of voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you have a feminine voice, boom, you're female. If you have a masculine voice, boom, you're male, right? And like it is so annoying because the amount of times like people will like I will get misgendered based off of looks because apparently I don't fit in one because like people who like basically homophobic people don't like people like they have like a certain
You don't compute.
if you're female you have to be a certain way. If you're male you have to be a certain way. So it's the voice that gets them
The
most.
weirdest thing is that I have realized after you said that I don't have association with voice and gender anymore. Like
Me
it's
too.
lost.
Yeah.
Like I hear
either.
Nova and Sabina's voice and I'm just like, what?
I don't either.
Where?
It just so
Where is-
annoying. Because people
What
will,
I
And, like-
loved,
people will hear my voice and be like, "Ha, you're female."
I have a
Sure.
very funny
Or, like,
story
you're a
about
woman.
this.
And I'm like,
okay,
woman.
no.
just as a little thing for what Sabina's saying,
Mhm.
the same thing happens to me, but I remember when I was first getting onto the internet, like Roblox,
Roblox. Let's
Gateway
go.
AR
internet
chat,
drug.
Discord, um, people would commonly mistake me for a boy, and I was born female, so that it felt really good to me because
Very
I
gender.
didn't
Yeah.
know about the non-binary stuff before. But that was just because of the way I wrote my messages casually. I sounded more boyish, and I don't know why.
Writing has
Yeah.
X.
It's
Wait,
so
I
weird.
have.
Like,
This is a realization.
there is like societal norms
It's
for
so
each
bizarre.
of us.
Yeah, writing has. Why does writing have gender?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but when I got
But
on a
it
VC
does.
with anybody I played with, they got really confused because my voice was very high pitched. So there are people to this day who still believe that I am 3 years younger than I actually am, and
Probably
that
because you're on Roblox.
I am a man.
Yeah, bro. We played
It's
Roblox,
not
like,
because I was on Roblox, man.
You are a bearded man who sits on Roblox.
They
yeah,
can't,
it's so annoying.
believe that I'm not a boy, and there are some people who still refuse to believe that I'm not a girl.
Wait, they don't. They
Yeah.
thought you were using a voice changer, or did they? You just
No,
did
they
never
just
talk
thought
to
I
them?
was really, really young, and that I just sounded more masculine because of the
They
terms I
really?
use.
Wait, really? Oh.
Okay.
You okay?
You tripped.
You just
For
you
context,
just-
they joined
you just-
another call on accident, I think.
Are you
Sorry,
okay?
the signals get mixed up in the space station.
No,
sometimes.
Yeah.
you're just a little clumsy. You tripped. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, no, they floated.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They bonked their head and then bounced a little because it's space. You know how like forks do if you like
Yeah.
ceiling
And it
Ethernet
played that
cable got
music like the
unplugged.
da 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 da.
Exactly!
Like in every
Exactly!
cartoon.
Yes.
Oh
Brett
yeah.
really went ground control to mage.
Yeah, I have a funny story about the voice thing.
Oh, please
oh.
do.
Are you gonna
So-
flex? Before you say it, is this a flex?
It a little bit. It's a little bit of a
Got
flex.
my eye
okay.
on you, Nova.
Okay. So basically, when I'm talking to people, I change my voice to be higher pitched because it matches what I want to be, right?
Yeah.
And
I
I,
don't
I know
remember.
other people do that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
make mine
kind of
lower
do.
sometimes.
I've started doing it more subtly. I've trying to.
I
more.
think you guys have heard me when I first wake up in the morning, how it's like way deeper.
Yeah, when you're
Yeah.
tired,
Video
your voice.
D&D
I
Yeah,
just
when I'm
think that's
tired, my
tired
voice
Nova.
gets like way deeper because
My
I
brain's just pretty sure that that's tired Nova. I don't have it.
Well, it's just because I'm so tired that I
Yeah.
drop the voice, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I freaked Red out the other day at drama because I went up to them and I just wasn't using the voice that I normally use, and it was way deeper and it freaked them out. It was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Red says, and I quote, "Lamau, yeah," in
Yeah.
When
capital
Nova
letters.
is possessed by an
And
85-year-old
now-
man.
Now to quote Red, Nova scared the out of me the other day. I'm convinced that they're constantly voice acting. So
Oh my god.
Now we know.
yeah,
Now we
now
know.
now you know my
Now we
secret.
know.
Damn.
You are. I also never knew that because you've always had this voice and it's never been.
See, but like you met me at like the end of 8th
Yeah.
grade where my voice was a bit higher pitched.
And
right?
then you just kept it.
So it's just been constant, right? But it just progressively got more and more deep.
Voices are something that's really interesting while we're on this topic. It's like every single person's voice is very distinct in the sense of like where they grew up, who they grew up around. Like the gay voice. The gay voice comes from the like
The gay in
someone
quotes,
who
guys.
the gay in
Yeah.
quotes, the gay voice.
The gay
comes
voice.
from it. So one of the research studies I've read too many of these, so I don't know how many I can trust.
So many
But
research
one of
studies.
a study I read suggested that the gay voice comes from the fact that gay men generally hung around women more as they were growing up, and such their vocabulary and their intonations all started to match who they were hanging around.
Yeah.
So what's really interesting is throughout elementary school, I pretty much like I was hanging out with like everyone but the guys, because the guys were gross, because elementary school boys
Yeah,
are
because boys
gross.
are gross.
As they are.
Um,
Yeah, duh.
so it was just like,
Ew.
so it's really interesting that I then like look at my voice like from recordings, and I look at my voice talking to people, and they're like, yeah, you do inherently have like a bit of the sprinkle of that. And like
Yeah,
my
me
voice
too.
isn't particularly like deep. Yeah, you do too. Like my
I
voice
have
isn't
the
particularly like
opposite
deep.
issue.
It's still like high, but it's not like, it's still definitely a little more masculine. It's just a really interesting, it's just an
Yeah,
interesting
and
thing.
you know what? We have a friend who we both grew up in the Earth state of California,
Oh,
and
that's crazy.
so because both of us, grew up in California, we've developed this sort of what do you call it? It's like a lilt almost to
Yeah, it
talking, and my mother
is.
definitely has it. But he and I both have like a similar issue. I sound much more, feminine because of it, because it's like it's almost Valley Girl, but I'm trying to water it down.
Yeah.
But he sometimes has the gay voice, which is very much like a Valley Girl accent.
Oh, that
So
one. I was
since he
trying to figure out who
has,
you were talking about.
yeah. So
Yeah.
since
No,
he
I got it
has
now.
that Valley Girl sort of lilt, some people assume that he's LGBT or isn't a he or something like that, which
But the
really
whole
sucks
Isn't a
time,
because
he.
he's not.
he's straight.
Yeah, but he's like straight.
Bamboozle.
It's
He's
crazy.
Yeah.
he's one of my favorite straight ally people. He's
He
so good.
is. He's
He's so
honestly the
nice. He's
token
awesome.
straight.
Yeah,
And it
if
was
you're
his
listening
birthday
to
just
this
a few days
person, you
ago.
know who you're talking to. You
Yeah.
know who we're
You
talking to.
better guest on
Yeah,
this
you're
podcast.
awesome.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Well, it would be really funny. We were all thinking about a different person just now.
That
Yeah,
would be
for a while
really
I
funny.
thought I went from a lot of people in my head.
Yeah, until
I
you
know a
until you
lot.
said that they were straight, I was like, wait, oh, I know who it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is we start to. I love how an actual like thing that narrows down people is whether they are straight in our friend group.
Yeah.
It's because, I feel
There's
much more
5 of them
comfortable around
total.
people who will respect me, and most of those
Yeah.
people are a part of the LGBT community.
We have a
Yeah.
total. I
Just-
counted through the people on Sabina's Discord server. There are 5.
Really?
Yes,
That's
there are
crazy.
just 5. They are literally just 5. It is.
That's crazy.
I'm just like.
Oh,
I have the opposite voice problems. Like-
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where
Awesome.
like you pitch it down a bit.
Yeah, so like I
Hmm.
can make my voice go really low, like lower than it is now, but like I naturally talk higher pitched. Like
Mhm.
it's so hard to do. Like I can do
I
it.
know.
It's
Yeah.
just like my natural is to bring it up like it is now.
You know
like
who has the most gender voice? Tristan.
Who?
Tristan.
He does. Think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Tristan, if you're watching this, we love you.
I need to
Yeah, we
ask
love
him
you.
later on if we can actually use his
but
name.
like, yeah, we
True.
should do that.
I'll bleep it out.
But
if we
Sabina
can't.
already said his name, so I was like, it's probably down the
Oops.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll bleep it out if we
so
can't.
Insert this person's name here. Just has like he has like the voice of like, it's not at either, because it's both the gay
Yeah.
voice and not the gay voice, while also being both. I
And
don't
loud.
understand.
There's
And
so
loud.
very loud.
It's a little like shrill, but like in a nice way. So it's
not
like,
shrill. It's just loud.
When I hang out with them,
Unless he's screaming.
like
I
they
can
like
hear
they
him
rant about
no matter
things, and it's
what-
just so interesting to just like listen because it's like everything about said person is just so like so silly, I guess you can say it. Just something
So
about it.
goofy.
Like they'll be like, I remember there was this one time we were driving home from the park, and they were just
Uh-huh.
ranting about something, and I'm just like listening and like watching, like this person is just something else. Like
Yeah.
His voice
you
is
guys-
just
He
so
is.
distinct. It's
Yeah.
just it's like out of all of it. Oh, that's
it's
another
so
cool thing.
them.
The voices like specifically, some stand out in the crowd, some don't. Like mine, I'm like a captain of a robotics club, and I can project without needing to raise my voice. Everyone in the room can hear me. As we've said in the past, if I'm in a call, as soon as I start talking, everyone goes silent for some reason, no matter how many people are at the call, because my voice is heard above everything.
Remember when we were in the
Yeah.
VC and like there was like 8 people in the VC. It was so chaotic. Orion said one sentence and it went dead. Like
silent.
there was like 15 conversations going on too, and it was just like dead silence out of nowhere. And we were like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I wish I had that power. That would be awesome.
It's pretty magical. It's like I can make everyone in the robotics, whenever all the robotics people are like talking and like just being annoying sometimes or like being distracted, I just have to say one sentence and they all are looking at me now, and I'm like, "Hey yo,
You
what's
should
up?"
be a teacher for like elementary schoolers because they do not shut up. Maybe that would work on them.
They don't.
No, honestly, you'd be so good though.
No
know from
offense to
experience,
anyone
don't worry.
in elementary or primary school. If
We don't have elementary schoolers listening to us. What do you mean?
we might, you never know. They're wildly little things.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
at the same time,
I have one more.
friends
I have
whose-
one more icon.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Tiny
Yeah.
elementary school children reminded me of this.
Go ahead.
Oh,
When
my.
I was in
Oh.
elementary school, there was this kid there who halfway through my first year at that elementary school became trans, and they were like a few grades below me. And to this day, I still think about them like maybe once a week. I'm like, that kid
True
is
icon.
know what?
so
Wait.
amazing.
I
I
have a
also
similar
had that
story.
experience. Okay,
Oh my
you go. We
gosh.
have the same. Okay, you
Okay.
go first.
All right, so
Mine's
back
silly.
when I was on Earth, I had these two friends.
I can't with this.
I had these two friends and they were siblings. We went to the same elementary school, shared some classes, you know, they were really cool. But one of them was very, very masculine, but was born AFAB. And the other one was very, very feminine, but was born AMAB. And I don't know where they are now. So I'm not going to assume anything, but I remember when I was talking to them, they mentioned something about transitioning, and keep in mind, this was back in maybe 2nd grade at the most.
The very aware second graders.
And so when I was talking to them before I went on the spaceship, I was just sort of I was thinking about it, and I was questioning, you know, do I want to be a boy? Would I want to be a boy? And I looked at myself and I was like, nah, not really. And then I talked to the other one who was more feminine, and I was like, do I want to, you know, stick with being a girl? I'm like, not really, but I don't know what to do otherwise. So I just settled on that for years until, you know, I learned what it was.
My
That's
experience, that is awesome.
And I
My
really hope
experience-
that those two siblings are in a great place right now. They had like an indoor skating rink, and I think that's all you need to determine what your gender is.
Icon.
Wait, like at their house?
So
Like
I-
in their house,
oh.
yeah. Go
I
ahead,
did
Ryan.
this. Yeah. So I did this thing in elementary school, which I did this a lot, which is basically if anyone wasn't talked to a lot, I would always make it my goal to become their friend. So like if they were clearly like no one else liked them, I would be like, I will be
like
friends
you.
with them.
Yep,
And I did
yep.
this unconsciously also. I only realized afterwards. But so there was this person who I think they joined us in like 3rd grade or something, right? And halfway through the year, she was just like, I'm gonna be he now. And I was just like, and I had never experienced anything when it came to trans people before. So I was just confused, to say the least. I talked to my parents. My parents did not know how to tell me that this person was trans at all. So it was just generally just like, I think they said something to the degree of, that person's parents probably just give the child too much freedom or something. And I'm just
what?
or like something about that person's parents. For the record, my parents are much better about that kind of thing. They're getting better. They need to improve, but better than forced to explain to 3rd grade me what this was, right?
I don't know. Kind of makes me want to stab people.
So
Continue.
anyhow, this person was actually really nice. I think I did a group presentation with them at the end of third grade, and it was he was incredibly nice. I think I ended up just calling him he because that's what he wanted. And
Yeah.
I still didn't really
Yeah.
understand the concept. We never really talked about it because the concept of transgender wasn't like there enough.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
but like the next year, he ended up getting expelled. I think maybe because he didn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bro, I don't do that, and
Oh,
I'm
what?
here.
Which is, yeah, but the
You were
weird
forced
thing
to do
was
that in
I just
Texas.
I distinctly remember. The weird thing is I really liked the teacher too, so I feel like there was an other underlying issue. But he basically the Pledge of Allegiance was, so we Pledge of Allegiance every day, right?
Mhm.
It
America
was like
core.
the first or second day of school, and I'd already talked to this person, and I was like, "Hey yo, what's poppin'?" And they were like, "Hey yo, what's poppin'?" Because we were both like, how I asked how the project went because it was I went to I went traveling a bit before the summer, and we hung out at recess a bit. And then the next day, we stand. The Pledge of Allegiance happened. I stand up because that's all I know at this point, fourth grade me. And this person, he doesn't stand up, right? And the teacher goes, "Stand up," and he goes, "No, I don't want to. I don't
Hell
like.
yeah.
I don't remember the thing was, but exactly. But then the teacher ended up bringing him out of the classroom and to the principal's office, and he never came back since. Um,
What?
I think I saw him actually in our yearbook, so I definitely think he's still in the district. But
That's the first
like
thing I noticed.
it was
in
like
Texas and Washington.
the thing is I had a lot of respect for this teacher, so I don't know what the situation was. I would hope that there was a different issue, but it was just so weird. The funniest thing is the next year we had in our communications class, we analyzed a court case where a student was a family was suing the school district because they chose not to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I was like, oh, I'm sure it happened before, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just like, was this that person? I'm sure it wasn't that person. But it was just a
No.
I really did not experience because my brain was very much in what my parents said, which is this is just a person. I don't remember what they said exactly. I just remember it wasn't particularly like this is a transgender person who you should respect. It was something to degree about parents, but it was sort of it was just bizarre, and I really liked that person in retrospect. And I guess they weren't particularly a transgender awakening for me, but they definitely probably contributed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The
I think we
pledge
can wrap
is
up soon.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I think it's almost time.
What were you gonna say, Sabina?
Yeah, Sabina, you had a point.
um hang on, my brain just
You said the
malfunctioned.
Pledge of
Take your time.
Allegiance.
Pledge. So in Texas you do the pledge and then there's a Texas pledge you do as well.
What?
And there's the Texas
Wait,
pledge
do you
has its
remember
There's a
own-
it?
Texas Pledge?
Yes, Texas has its own. I don't remember it anymore, but we had to say the United States one and then the Texas one. Basically
Guns.
every day.
I'm looking this up.
And yeah, no,
I
it's
wanna.
insane.
Yeah, me too.
And the first thing I noticed when I got to Washington was one, they didn't have their own pledge because
I honor the
yeah.
Texas flag.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, under one state under God, one and indivisible.
And
What?
that's the thing because I had just before I lived in Texas, I was in Germany, so very different, right?
Yeah.
I was in Germany and I
pledge
moved to
allegiance.
Texas, so I thought, does every state just have its own pledge as well?
Oh.
So I moved to Washington, and I'm like, where's the pledge? And then I noticed people sitting down during it, and I'm like, I would get
can
in
do
so
that?
much trouble if I did that in Texas. But as soon as I found out you could do that, I sat down. I'm like, I'm never standing up for this again. But
Yeah.
it was so odd.
It's a weird
Yeah.
thing.
I was
You
like,
know,
I thought it was a normal thing. I was like, every state has its own pledge. You say the pledge every day, both
I
of them.
pledge allegiance to
No
the
matter what.
Starbucks coffee of Washington.
I pledge allegiance to Seattle
Starbucks,
and all the
kick
corporate
off.
All of
businesses
the
that it
rain
brings.
everywhere.
the colonies of Washington.
And then I find out that Texas is just stupid. Period.
Yeah, that's fair.
Texas,
Sorry,
if you're
listeners
listening
from
to this,
Texas.
The
If you're
whole
listening to
Texas-
this from Texas and you don't agree with us, why? Why
why
are you listening?
Okay,
Why are
yeah.
you
Why
here?
are you here?
Wait, yeah, why
listening
did you
right now?
click on out of the binary podcast?
Yeah.
Why did what made you think it would be a good idea to listen if you disagree?
Exactly.
Like you can't even comment or anything. Like
What, you
can't
gonna
fight
dunk on
us.
us? You gonna dunk on us
Yeah.
for this?
You know what, Sabina? That reminds me of a quick little thing about gender again. In my elementary school before I moved here, we weren't required to like address teachers formally, other than the female and male versions, the prefixes like
Yeah.
Mr. or Mrs. for English classes, and then like maestra or maestro for like Spanish classes and stuff. I'm sorry,
Right.
my pronunciation's horrible. But when I moved to space, there was this unspoken rule of calling somebody ma'am if they were a woman, or sir, or like
What?
or like oh, what was it? There was this other one for male teachers, but what I remember getting in trouble for was not saying yes ma'am to somebody. And apparently that's just like a space thing, because when I go back home, um they don't have that in their schools. Like they don't have to call.
Yeah.
Do you have to say yes ma'am to your
I
teachers?
don't.
I don't.
No. Yeah, we definitely don't. I actually refer to my teachers. Well, I don't really do this when they're there because it depends on how much respect for my teachers. But generally, like I refer to my teachers like by their last name. Like I don't even say
Yeah.
Mrs. or Mrs. Miss.
We
Yeah,
refer to
neither
our
do
drama
I.
teachers by their first names.
Yeah, like so it was so weird to me that you had to say yes sir, yes ma'am. And so
Yeah, that's crazy.
when I didn't say yes ma'am, I'm gonna go do the thing for you,
What in the
I
boot
got in
camp am I
huge
hearing right now?
I got in huge trouble because
What?
I was disrespecting my teachers, and I haven't gone
Wait, was this
to
like what school? Like what level of school was this in?
this is elementary and middle school.
Okay,
That
better because I was gonna be well,
But
still
I
bad. But
Still
like,
bad, but what?
I haven't gone to high school on
Oh,
Earth
okay.
yet.
Oh, that's fair.
Um,
You've only been in space high
Ah,
school.
yes.
I've only when COVID hit, I just whoop, goodbye.
Beat me up.
Um, and so it's just this thing here, and if you don't do it, there's some. It depends on the teacher, of course, because there are some teachers who are also from West Coast America who don't really care. But like people from the areas around where I live, they get really upset when you don't call them ma'am or miss if they're not old or married or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's really strange to me now, especially because in space you don't have to do that. You don't even have to talk to your teachers. They're robots.
Oh, I'm doing online and I have to talk to my teachers.
They're
Aw,
AI.
that sucks.
Mine aren't.
Yeah, yours are
Yeah.
probably
Yours
real.
are
I have-
Earth Online, so
Yeah.
I have to go in for an hour every Monday.
There's
Oh,
actually
that
a
sucks. So you're
separate
doing, like,
international
hybrid.
space station that's just for the teachers.
Yeah.
International Teacher Station.
But final question for all of you guys. How do you think other people should feel about non-binary or just the outside of the gender binary stuff?
Just
Respect
respect
it.
it.
It should just be a normal
if you
thing.
are trans, then you go, you slay,
Yeah.
you're queen, you're king, you're a non-binary emperor. If you're not trans and you're cis, you get to respect it.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
I
the
feel
end
like-
of that thought.
Even
I
if you
feel like,
don't understand.
Yeah. We're often treated as like either treated poorly or we're like special and different. When I feel
Well,
like it should just be
yeah.
like a normal thing. Like we're just like everyone else if you think about
like,
it. Like
yeah,
we're all
20% of the
people at the end of the
population.
day.
Yeah, we're not asking anyone for a special favor or anything like that. We aren't trying to be super different from everybody. We just, for me at least, I just want to be, myself.
Yeah, we're
As
not
compared to
that
these
weird and
We
quirky.
we don't
Yeah.
want anything crazy. We just are like, call us what we want to be called.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not weird. We're just there.
Yeah.
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 I
It's
feel
pretty
like
standard.
throughout this podcast, even though we kind of like winged it, like we can all agree we literally just signed up to wing it. I feel
Yeah.
like
Yep.
we all kind of like learned from each other in a way, and like learned other like because we got to hear everyone else's experiences. We got to like hear like, oh, we're all thinking the same thing, but here's like different things that make that up. So that was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
It
I love how
sounds
you're
cheesy.
we're
Like, what
giving
did
the
you learn today?
underlying moral of
Underlying
the story.
theme.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we gotta hear the experiences
The
of
moral
all
of the
being
story.
basically the same thing.
What did
And
you
we
learn in your
all have-
podcast today?
Yeah.
Mom,
We do all
maybe
have to
I
learn from
learned
each
that.
other, though.
Yeah. Anyhow, so
Really important.
thank you for listening to the most dramatic episode ever to happen to this podcast.
Yeah,
this
the
wasn't
first
that
one.
bad.
Can't wait
Hopefully,
to
Well,
talk
yeah.
about video games
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, we're talking
Yeah,
about video games next. So
Yeah, next time we talk about video games with our favorite streamer, Choppy the Cat.
yeah, Choppy. We
Choppy
love
the
Choppy.
Cat, which if you haven't watched his streams, we're advertising now. Go
Yeah,
watch.
that's our
Choppy-
plugs for this episode.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah,
Is that
Choppy the
it?
Cat on
Yeah,
Twitch.
That was the plug. Watch Choppy the Cat on Twitch. We'll be back next time in the next month.
Yeah.
Because
All right, guys,
we
3,
have one.
2,
10 years
One.
on.
One.
goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Now the outro music plays.
Yeah. Hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for that, by the way. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with a friend. Things like that go a long way toward getting our stuff out there into the world, and there's only so much that we can do. In other news, we have a YouTube channel now, where we will release all the episodes, so go subscribe to us there. That channel is Out of the Binary. Like we said at the end there, our friend Choppy is going to be on the next episode, so if you want to go help him out or you just want a chill new Twitch streamer, you should check him out. You can find him at twitch.tv/ChoppyTheCat. Choppy is spelled Chopie. That about wraps it up for me here, so as always, stay queer, homos.